This video, of course, this 49ers report is brought to you guys by Panda Supps and our friends over there at pandasupps.com. Use the promo code CHAT for 30% off your first order. The best supplements around, pandasupps.com. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the latest 49ers news and rumors, as we always do. And this first one's interesting. The Dion Jordan news that is gonna happen, but hasn't happened yet. It's a little bit confusing, but let me explain. So apparently, the 49ers are looking for a defensive end, not a starting defensive end like a Jadeveon Clowney, but a rotational defensive end like a Dion Jordan. So they brought in Dion Jordan for a medical eval and a physical, and they brought in Ziggy Ansah as well. They did not like what they saw with Ziggy Ansah, and the report is from Ian Rappaport is that they are expected to sign Dion Jordan. Now, if you look at a guy like Dion Jordan, you might go, wait, that's a big-time name, right? Dion Jordan out of Oregon. He was a high draft pick. This is going to be a real stud, right? Well, he really hasn't been on the football field a lot, which we'll get to here in just a second. It's not a big splash, but it's a good rotational splash. So here's what Ian Rappaport had to say on his Twitter just yesterday. He said, quote, the 49ers are expected to sign former Raiders and Seahawks DN, Dion Jordan, sources said. He flashed with Oakland with 2 sacks, but now helps depth in San Francisco, a team that has tried to sign him in the past. Okay, remember, expected, but it hasn't actually happened yet. Now, going back to free agent Ziggy Ansah, he said this. Free agent Ziggy Ansah was also in San Francisco, and he was passed on his physical by their docs, I'm told, after a difficult year with his shoulders never quite right. He's now up to 280 pounds and is in a good place. So this Dion Jordan stuff, it's not official yet. The team has not announced the signing of Dion Jordan. So is Ian Rappaport early on his news? Is it coming any second now, or is it actually not going to happen? Either way, they could use a pass rusher there in terms of a DN rotational player, because you look behind D Ford and Nick Bosa, it's Hyder and Ronald Blair, which is not the worst backups, but it's like he's a little bit more depth there on the defensive end side. And so a guy like Dion Jordan makes a ton of sense because you're going to get him at an absolutely cheap deal. We're not surprised if he's going to go ahead and sign for the veteran minimum because, look, he's done absolutely nothing his past 4 seasons. 2019, he missed 10 games, only played in 7, had 5 tackles, 2 sacks, and a tackle for a loss. 2018 was his best year where he had 1.5 sacks. And then 2017, 18 tackles and 4 sacks in 5 games. And he had a whole PED problem in 2016 and 2015. The guy's not been able to stay on the football field, which is obviously why he is a free agent. But at the same time, you bring him in, rotational pass rusher. He's not going to get a lot of snaps, but he'll get in some snaps whenever D Ford and Nick Bosa need a break. And so honestly, bringing in Dion Jordan makes a lot of sense if they're going to do it. And again, it's a big if because Ian Rappaport reported it yesterday. And here we are. There's no confirmation that they're going to go ahead and sign Dion Jordan. So stay tuned for that. We'll see if it happens. Let me know what you guys think, though, in terms of should they pull the trigger on Jordan. Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no. All right, so as we had talked about previously on the 49ers report, the big question today would be who is going to opt out, because the opt-out deadline for all NFL players for COVID-19 was today, and the 49ers had 2 people opt out, but the confusing one was Sean Coleman, because as I was just checking Twitter before the show, there were reports saying he did opt out, then there was reports saying he didn't opt out, and then it was just confirmed he has in fact opted out of the 2020 season. Now, you're saying, Thomas, wait, is Sean Coleman an important player? Are we losing a big-time name? No, he hasn't played since 2017. He was never going to really, in my opinion, have a shot to actually make the football team. Last played, like I said, 2017 with the Cleveland Browns. So it's not a big deal overall. The big news, actually, of the 49ers in terms of opting out is they only lost Sean Coleman and Travis Benjamin. We'll get to him in a second. They only lose 2 players here at the opt-out deadline, meaning basically the entire team is going to be there for the entire 2020 season. The bigger name is Travis Benjamin, a fan favorite here from a lot of people who watch the 49ers report. I have a lot of questions from people asking, is Benjamin going to make the football team? My answer was always, I did not think so. He signed a very cheap 1-year contract. But at the same time, who knows? Because we're not going to get to find out because he has opted out for the entire 2020 season. He said this via his Instagram post yesterday. First, I'd like to thank the 49ers organization for their continued support. After much consideration and discussion with my family, I decided to opt out of the 2020 NFL season as I feel this is the best decision for my family. So the big news again, it's not who is opting out. It's the fact that the only 2 players who are opting out for the 49ers are not big-name guys, which let me just say this for the entire NFL. With the deadline being today, there were no big-time names that opted out. That's good news for football in 2020. This video, of course, is brought to you guys by Panda Supps, one of our new partners here at Chat Sports. Fantastic company, and they're giving us, exclusively to you, 49er fans, promo code 49ers, 30% off any order at pandasubs.com. Their pre-workout, absolutely fantastic. Before you go to the gym, just take a scoop of this. It'll help you focus your energy, your pump, and everything else that goes into making you look great for the remainder of the summer here. 30% off all of their products, including their pre-workout. Increase those gains and also help with the focus and the energy and the pump as you get into the gym. Pandasubs.com, promo code 49ers, 30% off your entire order. Big time deal just for you guys. Jump in on that deal right now. Going back to Travis Benjamin, of course, like I said, the odds of him actually making the football team were very low to start with because you have Samuel, and Ayuk, and Hurd, and Bourne, and Richie James Jr., and Dante Pettis, and Trent Taylor. The list goes on and on. His best shot was obviously if Deebo and Richie James were to miss a very extensive part of the NFL season, which is up in the air right now. We don't know how long Deebo Samuel is going to wait, but it looks like he'll be back probably week 5, maybe week 6. So the odds of Benjamin opting out being a big-time, blow to the 49ers wide receiver core, it's not a big deal overall. We wish him the best. It's every player's decision if they want to play or not. We get a pretty good deal in terms of not playing, so it makes sense. But Benjamin and Sean Coleman, the only two 49ers to not want to play in 2020, to opt out of their contract due to coronavirus, and that is good news, meaning all the stars are there. All the starters are there. 49ers are gearing up for their Super Bowl run, and Corona is not going to stop them. Now, even though you lose Travis Benjamin, you have some injuries as well. You guys trust the wide receiver group, right? Like, I trust the wide receiver group this year way more than I did last year. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys agree with me. And speaking of the wide receiver group turning heads, the big guy who is turning heads yet again is Jalen Hurd. Now, stop me if you heard this before, but Jalen Hurd looks pretty darn good at training camp. So let's go back. 2019 season, he missed the entire thing, but he turned big-time heads at training camp last year. He was the guy that stood out among all other players during the 49ers 2019 training camp. Now, of course, has the injury, doesn't get to play. Well, guess what? He's healthy and back on the football field, and teammate Raheem Mostert, who just re-signed with his brand new 2-year extension, is given some very high praise for Jalen Hurd after seeing him on the football field for the first time in 2020. He said, quote, he's going to go out there and he's going to put his all, especially with what I've seen the past couple of years when he's been healthy, going out there and trying to decleat somebody. That's inspiring in itself as a running back because you know that he's going to do his job to the best of his ability and he's going to put his body out there on the line. Why not do the same as a runner? So look at that, motivating Raheem Mostert from a guy who, yes, is big and a great time receiver and a good blocker there on the outside as well. We're blocking for running backs, but an exciting player overall and probably one of the main players that most 49er fans, including myself, are just excited to see. It feels like the 49ers got an extra rookie this year, even though he's a sophomore guy. So it's exciting stuff overall for Jalen Hurd. And even though you lose Travis Benjamin and opting out, I'm expecting Hurd, while he stays healthy, to jump into a big-time role in the offense there at the wide receiver position, and especially, like we said, with Deebo Samuel and Richie James Jr. being out for at least a couple of games to start the NFL season. Speaking of Hurd, if he's going to start, if he's going to play, like I said he's going to, how many receiving yards will Hurd have during this season? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think over 500. Right, Deebo had like 800 his rookie year. I think that's where it could be where we're looking at with a guy like Jalen Hurd and his size and talent coming out of my alma mater in Baylor University. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And speaking of Jalen Hurd, here he is with his brand new number change, as people down below in the chat have pointed out. He is going to wear number 14 this year instead of number 17. And then, of course, he wore number 5 at Baylor. So there's some speculation from people because it was like, well, you know, who was the last big-time receiver to wear number 17? Oh, it was Antonio Brown with the Patriots. Could they be making room for Antonio Brown? This is not an Antonio Brown precursor. Listen, if the 49ers were going to sign Antonio Brown, Hurd would have waited to change his number until Brown got there because he could have sold his number to Antonio Brown like he did with Emmanuel Sanders last year. Remember, Sanders came in and Hurd swapped numbers and got a little extra cash on the side. He's going to wear number 14. Looks pretty good. Pretty fun wide receiver. Not a lot of 14s in the wide receiver world. I think Stephon Diggs is the only big-name wide receiver who wears the number 14. Either way, I'm pumped. It looks great in a uniform. It was great in training camp, very good in the preseason, and I think this year is the year of Jalen Hurd. Get excited and get ready.